Welcome back to the Yirat Elohim Podcast, episode 29. My name is Isaac.
Ommi.
Topic today. Hated for following Christ. Welcome to true Christianity. That's the main thing. If you think that you're going to make it to Christianity without receiving any type of hate, you're in for a big treat.
Yep.
That's like the number one thing, right?
Agreed.
I'll go to my favorite verse. I don't know why it's my favorite verse, but every time I read it, I feel empowered by it. It is John 15:18. It says, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. I'm going to put that on a shirt, I think, when we come out with a clothing brand. But yeah, what does that look like to you, right? What does being hated as a Christian look like to you?
It could be the way you act, the way you present yourself. It could be how you go to church on Sundays and most people don't. It could be you listening to Christian songs, or you're the one that's praying for people. People hate that because it's not normal anymore, how it should be. And people also hate it because it looks like you're a goody tush-tush. It looks like you think you're better than me. You think that you're above it all because you believe in this higher power. And the thing about Christians is we believe that Jesus is the only way and the right way and the only way, and any other religion is not the right one. And people could take that and they don't like it. They find it actually very disrespectful that we think that, because our world now is equality and everyone's right to their opinion. And I don't, there's some certain aspects of it, like, yeah, there's certain things you could be right about, but all in all, when it comes to religion, Christ is the only way. You are saved through him. Your salvation is through him. He died on the cross for you, for everybody. And yeah, I think that's just the one top hated thing, is that we just look like goody tush-tush, and where we tell everyone we're the one true religion. And people just don't like that.
Although goody tush-tush is very far from what Christianity is.
Yep.
So why do you think people get that speculation that we have it all together?
I think they think that because of how strong we are in our faith. And we were just talking about a couple episodes ago that there is lukewarm Christianity, how someone could act Christian, say that they're Christian, but then go and do stuff that's not Christian. Yeah. And people look at that and they're like, well, you call yourself a Christian, but you go and do this. And people also don't like that people are lukewarm and they still call themselves Christians. Because who'd want that? Who'd want to be like sought out as a Christian and then go do wrong things? And that non-believer sees that and they're like, this is not the way that you're talking about. This is not the truth, the light. This is not the only way. And they find that disturbing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is disturbing that we have lukewarm Christians. But going back to it, on why people find this religion to be very hated in a sense, is because it doesn't follow the world. It's for the kingdom. Our rules are for the kingdom. How we live our life at the end of the day is for the kingdom. It's to be up in heaven. It's not for this world. It's not to be liked by everyone. The rules are not easy.
No.
It is a hard life, but a good life. A hard life in the sense that, yes, you do have to put in a lot of work, but the benefits of it is having eternal life, having a new body in heaven, being with the Father. It's very beautiful when you come to terms with it. So there's a lot of reasons that are hate, and the devil implants it in every person that's not in Christ. He implants that. This is bad. It's not good. This religion's worse than any other religion. That's why we get mocked, because it is the one religion that we're open with, and people just mock on it. And we don't say a lot. We don't defend it because we're supposed to love on those people. We're supposed to love on those neighbors. We're not supposed to go and kill them and be taunting them and saying, no, you're wrong the whole time. That's just not Christ-like. How do you see it? How do you feel that this world is hating on Christianity? Why do you think that?
I think the reason why the world hates on Christianity so much is because the fear of God has been taken out of it. I know we've talked about it previously in another episode, but people take the fear out of God, but they don't take the fear out of Muslim religion. People are very much scared of Muslim religions, right? Because they do some crazy things if you mock their religion, right? There's been countless instances where Muslims have killed Christians because of being Christian. So, of course, people are going to fear the Muslim religion and not feel the need to mock it because they don't want that same type of treatment. Whereas Christians, we kind of get walked on a little bit.
Yeah.
We kind of take it to the chin, right? Because that's what the Bible honestly tells us to do. It says for us to turn the other cheek. When a neighbor strikes your cheek, you turn it so they could do it the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think people are so comfortable with feeling like they can mock Christianity, or they can say something bad about it, or they can talk poorly about it, because they don't think that there's going to be any repercussions. And they have taken the fear out of it. They've taken the fear out of God. For me, I'm very much aware of the fear of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the podcast. Fear God
Fear
in
God,
Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yirat Elohim. That's talking about the fear of God. And I have that fear of God because I'm not going to go up and stand against God because I think that I can get away with it.
Mm.
But there's people that think that they can't.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we get hated on the most. Is because we don't really stand our ground. Because honestly, we don't really need to.
Yeah.
It says it in the Bible. Leave the revenge for me. That's God talking. Leave the revenge to God.
Yeah.
He will take revenge on the ones who have done evil to us.
Yep. Going back to the Bible, the only reason God has so much mercy is because he sent his beloved son down to die for the cross for us.
Yeah.
He sent the sacrificial lamb. If it wasn't for that, we'd still have plagues. God would be cutting down on half the people that do this or do that or not following him. He did it with the flood. He had plagues in Egypt. He had things that took out people. It killed them because there was no mercy. He was realizing that nothing is going right. And while that was happening, he had to bring down that Messiah, that sacrificial lamb, to take away all that sin so that no more harm could be done to his people. And it's really beautiful that we don't have to be like, no, I'm going to die now because I did this sin or because I'm not following Christ. Or these Christ followers are not following Christ anymore. Now it's like, no, he has that mercy and love because of his son. So I agree. Yeah. The fear of the Lord is taken away because there really isn't a fear to have anymore because there isn't anything bad happening right now.
Yeah.
Not to say that something's going to happen later on, which we believe that something will happen later on. But yeah, there is no fear because everything's okay.
Yeah.
You do wrong.
Whatever.
But in God, he's keeping that accounted for.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I do agree.
Nothing goes past God. People think that
Yeah.
their actions don't have consequences. This isn't the Bible that you will reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad.
Yep.
You will reap what you sow.
Exactly.
I know we touched on it a little bit, but why do you think true Christianity brings such opposition? What do you think is the number one contributor that people just have such a problem with Christianity that when you bring it up, it's a sore topic or people get frustrated by it or, we already talked about why people hate it, but why do you think it brings such a negative connotation to majority of the people?
I think it's the rules that's set upon it and also Jesus. I think people get mad that you could say, yeah, if you just trust in Jesus and you tell him your sins and you get washed, that you'll be fine. Yeah. And it's hard for people to comprehend that. And then it's also the rules that are placed. God has certain rules in the Bible for us to obey, not only because it's God's will, but it's also good for us.
Yeah.
Like premarital sex. We're not supposed to have sex before marriage. We're not supposed to do drugs because it's not good for us, for our bodies. God made our bodies as temples. We're not supposed to do drugs. It's going to ruin our body. We're not supposed to lie because it's going to ruin ourselves and even further somebody else's life. We're not supposed to steal because stealing will then take away somebody else's thing, and then you will also have a repercussion at the end, whether that's going to jail or it's simple stuff that God put in place because it's normal. These things are normal, and they know it's normal. People know it's normal. They just don't want to come to terms with it. They want to be above the law, and you can't. You really can't. And the whole Jesus aspect, I think people get very scared of Jesus because they know that all it takes is for you to cry out to Jesus and be like, hey, I'm ready to be saved. I'm ready to be yours. And people just don't like that. They don't like how simple that concept is.
Yeah.
I really do think it's that. I mean, you might have other thoughts on it. I know you think other different things than me, but yeah that's what I think.
Why do you think people... Let me reread that question. If someone comes to you and says, I'm not a Christian because it seems too controlling, what do you say?
It's not. It's really simple, really easy.
Yeah.
You're going to fail no matter what. I let that person know that they're going to fail. They're going to sin no matter what. They're going to sin. But that's why this is where the simple part comes in, where you have Jesus and you try better and you keep learning and You will be saved and again and again. No matter what, you will constantly be saved because of Jesus. So I think they're scared of how easy it is rather than how hard it could be. Because Christianity's hard. It's hard to live a Christian life, but it's really easy too. It's wanting to live in the world when you can't. People all they want to do is live in the world. They want to be by themselves. They want to be selfish because that's our desires as humans, is just to be selfish.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be that way. We live in this world for Jesus, for God, and walk in His path. So yeah, no, it's not hard. It's really easy.
So going back to it, right, and having to live with the fact that we are just going to be hated on no matter what we do, even if we're trying to do everything right, even if we are trying to be a good person. Do you think that we're trying way too hard to be accepted by the world within Christianity?
Yeah, I think so. I think, we're doing it kind of now where we don't want to be accepted, but we want people to know, and that could turn into like acceptance for us, our humanly, fleshly selves. We're like, well, I want to be accepted. I also want to help bring people to the Lord. And it could turn selfish really quick. And it could turn to even more hate for people to hate us because they could see the selfishness in us. So, yeah, I do think there's people that try really hard and just they want to be a good Christian. And it looks bad when you're trying too hard, when you're being a try hard, even in Christianity. Yes, you're supposed to try hard, but sometimes you could do that alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to try hard in front of everyone. You don't have to be that one person at church yelling all the time, like, God's good. I'm going to get you saved. I'm going to get this person. No, you work by yourself as well, even through prayer. You're working by yourself. You're working really hard. You're trying really hard with prayer. So I don't think there is a reason to be so try hard, but at the same time, if you are being that person, that's okay. Just find the balance. You have to find a balance. Like we have to find a balance with this podcast.
Yeah.
Where we can't just keep praising the Lord, but also wanting to praise ourselves.
Yep.
We can't be like, but I did this, so that makes me a better Christian.
Yeah.
No, we understand that we're failed humans, and we understand that what we know, our knowledge, is what we take from the Bible.
Yeah.
And that's it. We don't have any other knowledge. We didn't come up with any other knowledge. Everything is something that we've heard from a pastor, from the Bible, from a friend, from an older person. And we take that, and then we spread that knowledge. We're not coming up with things in our mind. It's very hard for us to do that. And when we do have something, we pray about it. And we say, God, is this legit? Is this something that is right? And you pray over it. And then you go and then you spread that news. And there's a lot of people that could do that very well. And I believe it's a gift that people could do.
Yeah.
But most of the time, we're doing what we know. What we just know. So yeah, I think you just have to find a balance.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, and I'm going to bring up a verse, right? Because what you're saying is awesome. And I want to bring up a verse that makes me think about this. And it's Luke chapter 14, verses 27, 32. It's a little bit long, but just hear me out. It says, whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, wanting to build a tower, doesn't first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, after he has laid the foundation and cannot finish it, all the onlookers will begin to ridicule him, saying, this man has started to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to war against another king will not first sit down and decide if he is able with 10,000 to oppose the one who comes against him with 20,000? If not, while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. In the same way, therefore, every one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. And when I think of this, and what you were saying, it's like trying to feel accepted or trying to feel, differentiating the difference between feeling accepted and just trying to be a true disciple. It's that. It's carrying your cross, bearing the cross, taking it up day in and day out. Mm-hmm. You can't live this life going unprepared. If you go unprepared, you're going to be defeated by the enemy. And if you're trying to get the approval of the world, constantly trying to get the approval, you're going to be unprepared because you're too distracted by winning the approval. And you're going to go to war against a king that has 20,000 soldiers and you only have 10. That's the difference that I see in it. It's taking up that cross. Taking that cross up every single day. Instead of just saying that you're going to take it up, you actually do it.
Do it. Mm-hmm.
You actually go forth with the planning. You go forth with putting in the work. You put in the motion, and you get done what needs to get done. And I think that's why a lot of people slander against Christianity some days. Is because people say they're going to carry up the cross, but then their actions don't show it. Because then when they search up what does carrying up your cross look like, the person that they're comparing it to, they don't match.
Mm.
And that's what I think a lot of hate stems from. I think a lot of hate also stems from misrepresentation.
Yeah.
You know, people going to the church and being judged or being hated on for the sins that they may have committed. So what would you say to someone who has seen Christianity being misrepresented?
Not that that person wasn't a Christian, because they could have been, but judging, if that person was judging, we're not supposed to be judged, and we're not supposed to judge. We'll tell you the rights and wrongs of certain things, but we won't judge you for it. We'll just tell you the rights and wrongs, and then you carry that, and you can do something about that. We don't have the power to change that. Only you and God have the power to change. I feel for the person that you were with that might have represented Christ very wrong. I'm sorry. Some Christians do that where they'll represent Christ very wrong and they're not supposed to. But that's not that person's fault. They could have just been having a bad day. Again, we're sinful humans. We can have bad days. We could be misrepresenting Christ all the time. But that doesn't mean that Christ doesn't love you, and that doesn't mean that person didn't care for you. It's just how it happened. And you can learn from it on how that person misrepresented. Because then you could have another person that represents Christ very well. You just have to keep seeking.
Yep.
And you'll find that one person that tells you something, you're like, that really hit home. And then you'll have a person that tells you something, and you're like, that's not how I feel. I don't want to be judged on that. I don't want to feel that way. And you can learn from it. And you could even help that person that said, that misrepresented Jesus. You could help that person that did that.
Yeah.
Because then you'll know a couple more things. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, don't take everyone's advice to account unless it's biblical truth or it's like representing Jesus well. Because if you're not representing Jesus well, you're not going to show good advice. You're not going to show good manners. Nothing's going to be right. So just you have to find that. Seek and find that right person that's going to tell you the right things. Because some people are off, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What would you tell someone if they found someone that represented Christ very wrong and just got a misunderstanding?
I think with everything else, it's just like anything else. I mean, anything can be misrepresented. Mm-hmm. Politics, jobs, people, how they perceive you. Like anything can be twisted into how that person may want it to be represented as.
Mm-hmm.
So with everything, you can't take everything to heart, right? Like I can't get cheated on and then assume that every other girl that I'm ever going to be with is going to cheat on me.
Mm.
That's not fair. If I got cheated on in the past, that's not fair to carry that into my current relationship with my fiance and say, well, I got cheated on by someone else, so by assuming she's going to cheat on me. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And
it's the same thing with Christianity. If someone misrepresents Christ to you, you can't assume that that's how everyone is. Exactly. You can't assume that that's how every church is, every person is, every individual is, because that's just not the way that we should be living life. If you're taking that and that's how you live with everything in your life, then you're really not going to be able to navigate through your day-to-day life at all.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to be taking everything with a grain of salt and realizing that, oh, well, it was done to me like this. That means it's the only way. It's not the only way. If you do your research and you actually look into the Bible and you realize, okay, this is what it's actually telling me versus what someone represented to me, someone presented something to me, they're very different things. Mm-hmm. Let me take it to another source and compare them. But people don't want to do that work. They just want to get the first initial reaction, and if it's bad, oh, well, I tried Christianity, but, it didn't work out for me because someone judged me too harshly. Yeah. Someone said some bad things. Someone kicked me out of the church because I'm deep in sin, and they told me I'm not welcome here. I tried it. That's not how it should go. Mm-hmm. Just like with a relationship. I got cheated on. Guess I'll never go into another relationship again. That's not how it works. Not every person is the same. And some people are going to misrepresent Christ.
Yeah.
That's just the plain truth, whether it's by accident or it's intentional. I've seen it happen both ways. And it's sad,
Yeah, it is.
but I hope God corrects them and shows them the right way.
Yeah.
But you just have to understand that it's not always like that. Most of the time, it's not.
Yeah.
So with having hate from all over the world,
Yeah.
Directed towards a Christian, how does an individual stand firm in that type of rejection?
That's a good question. You have to keep pushing through. Faith goes a long way. I know it's hard for some people, but I believe faith goes such a long way. And if you have a lot of faith, you're going to push through. So just having that faith that, like, Jesus is going to carry me through this, that I'm going to be bashed and stuff, but he was bashed first. He was hated on. He was not liked. He was actually the person that they wanted to kill. Like, they didn't want this guy because he was hated so much. You got to realize that holds such a significance to your own life. Like, you're not going to be killed because of this. I mean, I know there's other countries that you can be killed, but like here in America, you're not going to be killed. You got to keep pushing through, and you got to keep reading. You got to keep praying for the people that do hate you, because you're supposed to love your neighbor, especially the ones that hate you the most. You want to keep those people close, because sooner or later, they're going to turn around and they're going to follow Christ. And that's the power of prayer. That's the power of having Jesus in your heart. It's the power of not giving up. Like all the things we've been talking about. And just knowing that you got to love your neighbor. You got to fight through the hate. You got to realize that Jesus was hated first. It just goes back all to that verse. You have to know the significance of that verse to be able to stand firm.
Yeah.
Because you can stand firm and push through. Because we face it every day as Christians. Especially if you're going through something at work. Or if you're having a conflict somewhere. And you're like, well, I'm a Christian and I'm standing firm in this. It might even take you out of a job. It might take you out of a relationship. It might take you out of a friendship. You never know what it'll take you out of. But God has that in motion because he doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
Or he needs you to grow from that. So yeah, I mean, that's what it means and how you can overcome the firm foundation of being Christ-like.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll end it out. I'm going to just reread that verse that we reinstated in the beginning. It's John chapter 15, verse 18. It says, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. And to me, I love that verse, and it's my favorite verse because it's a constant reminder that I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
We're going to get hated on for doing the right thing, and that's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to remind ourselves that we are aiming for the eternal prize, and we're not living for the instant gratification of the temporary things here on earth. Mm-hmm. And with that, you're just going to get some hate.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
You're just going to get some hate.
It's going to happen. It's the world. We live in it, and we love it. So keep pushing. And
one more thing. I don't know. My dad told me, and it's been on my mind, right? 33% of people are going to love you. 33% of people are going to hate you. And 33% of people are not going to know how to feel about you. Mm-hmm. So instead of worrying about the 33% that hate you, they already hate you.
Yeah.
Stop trying to win their approval. And you have 33% of people who love you. Yep. So you got those people. You don't have to worry about them.
Exactly.
Don't worry about the people that hate you. The ones that you need to worry about are the people that are undecided. Exactly. That's who you need to focus in your attention to. Exactly. The people that hate you, let them hate. Let them hate. It don't matter.
Let God turn their hearts.
Let God turn their hearts. You don't have to worry about that. What you need to worry about is the people that are undecided about you. Mm-hmm. Focus on those people.
Yep.
And focus on good things. Absolutely.
Sure.
That's all we got. See you guys on the next episode. See you later.